Three, two, one. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is another random episode of Hex Speaks, I guess, and it's about a topic that I saw on Twitter today, and I actually really want to discuss this with everybody. I have to get my thoughts on it at least, right? And at the end of this video, we're gonna talk about direction of the channel, etc., etc. But let's get into the topic real quick. So let me show what I'm looking at right now. It was a tweet about how, and this isn't the original tweet. The person who originally tweeted it, they privated their account. But it said many people play video games in easy mode, and that's okay because games are fun, relaxing, and not stressful. I agree with this sentiment. Now, for those who didn't see the original tweet, the sentiment was video games need an easy mode, and if they don't have them, it's ableist. It's ignoring that some people don't play every game competitively and things of the like. So without even trying to beat around the bush, I think that's just pandering. If every video game had an easy mode, every video game was easy, etc., etc. And again, we're using this picture as a means of reference. The actual tweet isn't here, so I have to kind of reference the things she said within her tweet. But she brought up that video games are an experience. They're a form of media that has to be interacted with, and some people just want to experience that media without having to go through the struggles of actually earning it. While I do agree that certain forms of media should be deservedly earned and some shouldn't, as in I don't need to go through any extra means of learning to watch a movie, right? But to play a video game and get to the ending, I have to actively play through that piece of media to get there. Video games are an active media, and it's a newer one. Video games are a newer active form of visual media, visual and auditory, while movies and television and stuff like that are passive. The information is brought to you. You don't gain the information yourself over time. Not saying that you can't learn through a movie, but the information itself is created through things given to you, if that makes sense. And the only reason why I think the need to bring this up is relevant is because I come from a background of fighting games. And I think this is important to bring up because a lot of cases where, in fighting games, it gets simplified when the next version comes out, or as people say, I think people correlate skill and difficulty a little too much. And while I agree with the sentiment that I want everybody to enjoy video games together, I don't think we need to pander to people who aren't skilled enough to reach that enjoyment. To equate this to like a physical media. WNBA did, but for my means example, you can't go professional in the NBA on a lower rim, right? Like in NBA, I cannot say I can't shoot on a 10-foot rim, so I practiced my entire life on an 8-foot rim. Please, I'm in the NBA now, and they accommodate because I'm not good on a 10-foot rim. Let's accommodate to those people and make it lower, right? That's, while interesting, and I think discussions of that accommodations can work, I think that it takes a lot, and I mean a lot of reason to have an entire form of media accommodate to the lack of somebody being able to conform to it, right? It's like if every picture we ever looked at no longer had color to accommodate to the extreme colorblind people have. And again, that's not the most common colorblind, but the people who can only see black and white. It's like, oh well, you can't see or understand the colors I'm using, so I won't use them. You don't have the acquired skills to reach the story I want to tell, which is adjacent to the skills, so I will no longer make this difficult. And this is, of course, I wanted to look at this real quick. We don't have to watch the whole video, but it's just, games are hard, man. Like, sometimes they design them on purpose to be really hard. And y'all go check out this video. I'm having a description, Bonta. This Spelunky 2 is probably one of my favorite games, and it's just made to be hard. It's very fun, very, very fun. But if it's not hard, I'd be lying. And again, y'all should watch this video. They have more content like this, but difficulty is a means of an enjoyment in video games that aren't, and I repeat, that aren't in other forms of media. Understanding a movie, like I was just speaking about, like the movie Tenet, understanding that movie is difficult. Experiencing that movie is very simple. You go in the theater, you sit down, you hear them talk, you see JDW do his thing in a suit, and you saw the movie. Video games, while still being a game, are a form of visual media, video game. So you have to have not only the skills to, experience the media, but you also have to go through the time. And that's why I think this becomes kind of redundant. It says, and that's because games are supposed to be fun and relaxing, not stressful. This is putting things into a box, which a form of media will always be multiple forms of expression. Video games are a group of media. Just as Pong is a video game in the exact amount, like Pong is 100% a video game, just as like cinematic Kojima movies, those games were like, you're 90%, Metal Gear Solid, 90% of the game, you're watching it. That's a game. That's 100% a video game. I think putting it into a box, because there's stressful TV shows, there's hard to watch shows, movies, everything. So we can't put things into a box like that. We have to understand that this form of media will have multiple forms of understanding. So I put together these, and ignore my drawings, these really simple visualizations of what I think difficulty and skill and how they should correlate. So, and I'll use green here to highlight which one I'm talking about. I think most people think that this is the difficulty and skill curve, right? As you improve, things should get harder. So if I go to and this is about the game in general. So if I go to an easy game, right, the difficulty of the game to experience the whole thing is simple, right? So let's say I'm a very, like Pong, you press up, you press down. The difficulty to experience what Pong is meant to be requires lower skill. That's what people think. And I think this applies to a lot of other forms of media. Mediums, my fault. So like a movie, a very easy to watch movie usually takes little focus. Those correlate pretty well, right? But the way the tweet wants it, they want, no matter how, they say they should be fun and relaxing, not stressful. So no matter how good, right, skill, right? So no matter how good you get on this axis, how much you've improved, you learned the game, you understood it, they want the difficulty to be a baseline and accommodate for everybody. So your skill is not awarded. The amount of work you put in here is adjacent to somebody who put in no work. And wow, I think this can be happening in certain games and forms of media, right? And it is true for other forms of media, right? Somebody who's watched every single movie in the world will not be able to sit and see a movie differently. You know what I mean? Like the light going to your eyes does not change because you've seen more movies and you understand more movies than another person. However, your experience with a video game changes according to your skill of it. And that's just video games. And fighting games, honestly, I think they're like this. I think to experience a fighting game, honestly, like just a punch and kick, you don't need to know anything. You can just boot it up and do it. But as you improve, right, and you grow with your skills, I'm sorry, my lines are really bad, I'm on a mouse, right? You improve in your skills, they match up here. I'm gonna make this line work. All right, and oh shit, last try, and then I give up. All right, act like this is it. So you improve with it, and you get here, right? Pretty good. You improve with the difficulty. So when you want to do the hard stuff in a game, you improve here. But, and I think people ignore this, games, like the concept of a game gets easier as you get better. And this is true for, this is actually like difficulty and skill. This graph is probably everything that's a physical media. So riding a bike, you know, stuff like that, sports, like riding a bike is pretty hard, but the better you get at it, the more difficult, you know, the more difficult thing you go at it, the more skill you gain. But then when you get here, once you understand how to ride a bike, how to get on that bike and make it move wherever you want, it gets easier. Like, I don't wake up every day and say, man, I gotta remember how to ride a bike. I haven't rode a bike probably in 2 years because of, you know, the pandemic. Do you think I can't get on a bike right now and still ride it flawlessly? I probably can. Things get easier once you reach, and I want to call this peak right here, a subject that's being ignored. I want to call this peak, oh my god, I can't draw on a mouse. Let's call it mastery, right? So I'm gonna put M, because I can't draw on a mouse, I'm sorry. So this M is mastery. This is a provable way to say mastery correlates with the difficulty and skill in video games. Once you master something, it gets easier over time to do normally. And that's the reward video games have that a lot of other mediums don't, which is why they can be difficult, they can be stressful, they cannot have an easy mode, because they want you to achieve mastery and your enjoyment changes. Now, if I'm being completely honest, this is the curve most developers are attempting to achieve. Something like that, right? You know, something like this, where as you grow, it keeps going. And they don't want they pretty much want mastery to be the end. Once you achieve all the skill possible, you reach the maximum difficulty and mastery. But then guess what? Right here, and this is where a lot of games people say plateau. Boom, straight line. Once you master a game like this, that's built like this, where skill and difficulty nearly directly go up with each other like this, once you reach mastery, you just straight line down, bro. Like, you're done. You've seen all there can be, you've done everything can be, and this is boring. This one, where would mastery be, right? Difficulty and stuff like that, they're correlating perfectly, they're moving together. So are you saying that, like, this goes on forever in this straight line, so then you randomly keep going forward, and where you reach mastery? Where? We can say maybe somewhere off in the distance, this is your mastery. But what would change? You've mastered everything. Did it get easier? No. You already was at the easiest point possible, because it was accommodated to you having a lack of mastery over here. And you know, I put the bar a little higher, because let's say the easy isn't dumb. So easy's here. So this is where the mastery point would be. It accommodated for, you know, let's say S2, right? The skill, so this is the second set of skills you gain once you master something. This accommodated for it before you, which is S1 here, even got to it. And I think that form of redundancy is not only, you know, boring, but I think it's just straight up rude to the consumers to think that we can never achieve the amount of skill to experience the content in the way that they want it to be, which is why difficulty correlates with skill in video games. I don't think it should for every form of media. I think it changes based on, you know, what the media is. But if my convoluted method of showing what I'm talking about didn't work, I apologize. I know I'm not like the grandiose god at making visuals. And yeah, this is just something quick I wanted to go on about. Tweet's gonna be linked. The video that we just watched is gonna be linked. I genuinely appreciate y'all for listening to this very short rant. But yeah, thank you for watching. And now that we got that out the way, I just want to cover something. I'm leaving for school, so I've been talking about it on my stream for a while, but this is the most current, like, I'm gonna have videos uploaded after this, but this is the most current date as of today of a recording I'm making. So the videos that's coming after are from the past. And I'm only saying this because I'm probably gonna pause on content for a while. I want to focus on school, stuff like that. and I appreciate the support y'all been giving me on my stream, you know, everything like that. But yeah, we kind of, you know, we gotta push forward. But thank y'all very much for all the help y'all been giving me and growing as a consumer or a content creator. My fault. The fact that I can even make a video like this where I don't say the word Dragon Ball until right now, and it can go on my main channel, is very exciting to me. But I am making a second, you know, I have the clips channel that I talk about, but actually making a third channel of just personal content. That's gonna be where these talks go. Any other Hex Weeks I ever do, non-fighting game concerned, video essays and things like that I'm gonna do, it'll be linked in the description. Thank y'all very much, and thank y'all for supporting me. I'll be back to making my own content probably in November. Peace.